Ron DeSantis is picking a fight with Byron, a black Republican, over a minor objection to the new African American history curriculum. Is he going to listen to Donads, or is he going to be DeSantis jump the shark moment? In other words, black Republicans are now being attacked by their party for disagreeing with Florida's new education rules, claiming that black people benefited from slavery. John James, a black Republican, told Ron DeSantis that he has gone too far. Let's get into these videos.
Has Ron DeSantis jumped the shark? Now, if you don't know what that phrase is, I'll explain it in a minute. But the Florida governor has found himself involved in a war of words with a fellow Florida conservative Republican. Congressman Byron, the only black Republican in Florida's congressional delegation, and a member of the Freedom Force, a group of House Republicans who say they're fighting against socialism in America. And it's all over a minor objection that Donald's made to a single line DeSantis and the Florida Board of Education are insisting on including in the state's newly adopted teaching standard, which is 200 plus pages. It's related to African American history for middle schoolers. It will be taught that, quote, slaves developed skills which in some instances could be applied for their personal benefit. Now, immediate backlash from Vice President Kamala Harris and various civil rights leaders was expected. But Congressman Donalds chimed in to both express his support for the new standards and just take issue with a small part of it. He said the new African American standards in Florida are good, robust, and accurate. That being said, the attempt to feature the personal benefits of slavery is wrong and needs to be adjusted. That obviously wasn't the goal, and I have faith that the FLDOE will correct this. It's hardly a liberal rebuke. But DeSantis and his aides just couldn't let it go. They went on the attack, assailing Donalds. DeSantis' press secretary responding, did Kamala Harris write this tweet? Then there's this one from DeSantis' Department of Education commissioner. This new curriculum is based on truth. We will not back down from teaching our nation's true history at the behest of a woke White House, nor at the behest of a supposedly conservative congressman. A reporter asked DeSantis about the dust-up during a campaign event in Iowa today.
This little dust-up between the campaign and Byron Donalds, is that helpful, though?
So, at the end of the day, you got to choose. Are you going to side with Kamala Harris and liberal media outlets, or are you going to side with the state of Florida?
Really? You got to choose on that one line? So now the very conservative Byron Donalds is aligned with Kamala Harris and liberals because he thinks that line should be taken out? According to Ron DeSantis, apparently so.
And you now have people like Kamala Harris trying to perpetuate a hoax saying that these African American history scholars, many of whom were black, some of them who descended from slaves, are creating a curriculum saying it was good? Are you kidding me? Who believes such nonsense?
Except nobody is saying Florida is teaching that slavery was good. They're saying that including the bit about slaves learning skills that benefited them is irrelevant and insulting. Even if it's true, it's not necessary to include. You don't have to put any kind of positive spin on slavery. It might be true that some Jews learned skills while they were in concentration camps out of necessity to survive, just like some slaves were forced to learn skills when they were held in bondage. Doesn't mean you have to make it part of the curriculum for 11, 12, and 13-year-olds and suggesting it was somehow beneficial. It also doesn't mean that you have to go to the mat to defend it. But DeSantis dug in. And I asked at the top if maybe DeSantis has jumped the shark. It's a saying that comes from an old show I used to love called Happy Days, and specifically from a later episode. When the show's popularity was waning a bit, in an effort to gin up some renewed interest, Henry Winkler's lead character, the Fonz, literally jumped over a shark while water skiing. It was not the finest moment in an otherwise very popular hit show. And years later, jumping the shark would become a pejorative for when something that was going very well at one point, executed an act of desperation in an attempt to regain that success, but instead was the beginning of the end. Happy Days did hold on for a few years after that episode. But you have to wonder if this is that moment for Ron. It's such a dumb fight to have with Byron Donalds, a fellow very conservative Republican from Florida who supports virtually every initiative of DeSantis. The one difference being that Byron Donalds happens to be a person of color, and he thinks, as many, many others do, that this one line was dumb to include. DeSantis could take a step back, listen to what Donald's had to say, at least show respect for his opinion, even if he says, I disagree with him. Or he could decide that he needs this fight and maybe do what Fonzie did. Joining us now, John Ziegler, conservative commentator and host of the Death of Journalism podcast. John, good to see you here. All right, you have long been a Ron DeSantis supporter. I should say long. You've been a Ron DeSantis supporter. Am I overreacting here in your opinion, or is this just a horrible decision that DeSantis is trying to have this fight with Donald?
Well, I agree that this is a bad fight to have for slightly different reasons than you do. As far as the jump the shark, I love the graphic. I actually think that the real jump shark moment was when DeSantis said that RFK Jr. might be part of his administration. That, to me, was a real jump the shark moment as a conservative supporter of Ron DeSantis. But I want to push back a little bit on your assessment of how this story began, because I think that the mainstream media was not nearly as rational as you were in your analysis of this. So I think the mainstream media effectively allied themselves with Vice President Harris, and they created, I believe, mostly a bogus, false narrative. And the DeSantis campaign was right to push back against that. Now, with Donald's, here's where the definition of team gets interesting. Dan, as you know, there's nothing the media likes more than if someone on your team admits you were wrong, right? Because that is proof that you were wrong and they were right. Well, Donald's, as a Republican from Florida who happens to be black, is seen as having great credibility on this issue. I get it from the media's perspective, but they're forgetting an important part of this equation. He's a Trump supporter who is on the short list to be Donald Trump's vice presidential nominee.
That's fair.
So I think he saw this brush fire going on and he goes, oops. Oh, I can't believe I just put some gasoline on this poor brush fire. I wonder what's going to happen in the media narrative about this. I mean, so Donald knows what he's doing. He's playing the media. Trump is loving this. I'm sure Trump patted him on the back. And DeSantis is seen as the loser here because when you have a failing campaign, everything is perceived through that lens. And in a little bit, this is like blaming the captain of the Titanic for what music the band is playing as the ship begins to sink. It's kind of irrelevant.
Okay, so black people are now making fun of these black conservatives for just working around, being around or working with Ron DeSantis. Like, what were they expecting from this? So let me just show you the videos that I've collected for you guys. Make sure I watch this video up to the end. I've made my own thoughts, my own 2 cents at the end of this video. I want you to watch this video uninterrupted. Let's get into this.
It's just like the movie Get Out. You know, you flash a light in some of our faces, you know, we'll wake up. And blatant, disrespectful racism, that's undeniable, that'll wake us up real quick. That's why, again, they prefer tether coons. Because they know there's only so much cooning an FBA is going to do. Like Diamond and Silk. You know, Diamond and Silk, they were coons, but they are FBA coons. You know, rest in peace to one of them. One of them died. But even they were like, when George Floyd died, they were like, oh, that ain't cool. Even they were like, nah, them killing George Floyd, no, there has to be justice for that. So I'll commend them for at least not being that type of coon to go along with it. Now, Candace Owens, on the other hand, Candace, remember, she identifies as being Caribbean. So she was like, yeah, George Floyd died of fentanyl. She was on that type of thing. They like the foreign coons because they understand that those foreign coons, the ancestral ties aren't there like that. You know, some of them might be anchor babies at best, but the ancestral lineage isn't strong here. So it's easy for them to coon because there's no ancestral connection like that. With us, we have an ancestral connection, even the black Republicans. And there's nothing wrong being a black Republican, by the way, because I'm conservative, but I'm not a black Republican. Most black people are very conservative. Most of our views are very conservative because we've been here longer than any other group. But I'm not a Republican. I'm nonpartisan. I don't really deal with those political parties. But the thing is, the black Republicans are speaking out against DeSantis and this slavery narrative. They're speaking out against it. And some of the white people are turning on them. Some of the right-wing white folks are like, Negroes, shut up and stay in your place. And the black Republicans are kind of fighting back. They're getting their wake-up call, which is good. I like everybody getting their wake up call. I like the blatant racism. I like it. You dig? So it's best for them to get tethers to do the dirty work for them. But now here's the problem. We're calling the tethers out. So the tethers are not effective no more like that. So they don't know what to do. They can't go and get these tethers and then push them out there and have them do the dirty work, because we are delineating. The FBA movement is so strong. So the minute a tether steps out here talking about, we don't need no reparation, we're like, nigga, what's your background? Oh, Nigerian tether, get out of here. You're immediately delegitimized. So that's not working like it's supposed to. These white supremacists are desperate right now because they only got one or two tricks and plays, and they just keep playing the same tricks and plays over and over, and it's just not working. Their tether coons ain't working no more. What's that tether coon lawyer lady that everybody's been going in on? She was talking greasy about Just Hilarious, and everybody started calling her out. She was talking about, yeah, Just Hilarious and the black community is transphobic and we need to leave the trans alone. And then people are like, ma'am, you are Nigerian and part of your family is from Barbados. You need to shut all the way the hell up and not speak on our issues. And then she started hopping online. What y'all gonna do? What you gonna do? I pay my bills. Y'all can't do nothing to me. What you can do? What y'all can do? And we're letting you know what you can do. We have discredited your ass. We've already done it. We've discredited you. She done blocked everybody. Let me tell the tethers something with all that what you can do shit. Listen, we've already done it. You're discredited. You can't sit up here and act as our representative. In order for you to act as our representative, we have to sanction that in some way. And if you step up here talking crazy with an accent and you ain't from the soil, you can shut all the way the fuck up and you have no credibility. So we've already taken that away from you. That's what we can do. And now when the white people see that you have no credibility, they're going to toss you to the left too, because they need you to have some type of legitimacy in order to act as a spokesperson. When you don't, you're useless to us and you're useless to them. That's what we can do. That's why you're up here crying now. Yeah, you can try to save face all you want to, but if we are not sanctioning you, you're not legit. And you cannot be our representatives. We're not playing that game where everybody can speak for us and you have these ulterior motives.
Damn it, it is funny. You know, I love the fact that their party is now telling them that they are not real Republicans, because you're not. You were never intended to be, black folks. You're not real Republicans. And they're telling you this to your face. Now, if you are willing to accept it, you're one of the smart ones. But if you're not, clearly you're one of the dumb ones. So, black people in the Republican Party, that's what your party is planning on doing for you and to you. So, there is nothing else we can do to help you. Y'all can stay over there, be over there, have fun. Goodbye.
Now what I tell y'all, these black Republicans, I told y'all about them. When them white folks is done getting everybody else, who they gonna have left? Oh, yeah, the niggas in the house. And I don't feel bad for not a one, because this is what they get. This is what they wanted. These tap dancing, boot licking Negroes was so content when it was everybody else getting the short end of the stick. Now that their own party is turning on them like we all knew that they would, they want to have a little issue, a little argument. They want somebody to feel bad for them. No, this is what you chose. You made your bed, lay in it. And never trust a coon.
You know, you Coonesians are beyond transparent. Are we really supposed to believe that you all have seen the light? You realize the errors of your ways? You realize that you've been consorting and shucking and jiving amongst the clan, and that this man is the Grand Wizard and you're going to course correct from now on? Or is this a sloppy attempt at garnering the black vote?
So now that we know that the black conservatives are now lining up and standing up to the governor of Florida, Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, Congressman Byron Donalds of Florida, Congressman John James of Michigan, and Congressman West Hunt of Texas. They have all rebuked DeSantis and his idea of rewriting of African history. I mean, look at the decision to attempt to rewrite history and make slavery digestible. It is absolutely infuriating. I mean, before Europeans arrived, African people were already running emperors. They were already skilled. Talk about math, medicine. And I have a video to prove it. Please let me know if you want to see that video in the comment section below. The notion that African people needed Europeans to help them build their skills is absolutely monstrously not true. And just my little thought on this, Desantis shouldn't run for presidency. I mean, this guy cannot let anything go and without being offended. At even the most minor of challenges, he totally lacks the qualities to ever being president. Just my thought. Please guys, let me know what you think about this video in the comment section below. Subscribe if you have not subscribed to this channel. Turn on your notification bell so that every time I upload such videos, you'll be notified. I'll see you in my next video. Peace.